When Goku first transformed into a Super Saiyan on Namek, it was a moment that changed the Dragon Ball series forever. A new peak of power, rage, and raw potential. But what happens when the same Goku, fresh from his legendary battle against Final Form Frieza, is stacked up against Metal Frieza, a cybernetically advanced version of the same tyrant, boasting a power that's claimed to be far beyond his original 100%? Is Namek Super Saiyan Goku already too strong to be challenged again? Or did Mecha Frieza close the gap with his mechanical resurrection? Today, we're breaking everything down, feats, scaling, lore, and battle logic, to settle the score once and for all. Would Super Saiyan Goku from Namek smoke Mecha Frieza, or would Frieza's revenge actually succeed? If you enjoy conversations like this and want to take part in deeper Dragon Ball discussions, I highly encourage you to join the Dragon Ball HQ Discord server, link below in the description. We'll be diving into this topic and more over there. Now, without further delay, let's begin. The first thing we need to go over is Goku and Frieza's first fight on Namek, one of the most legendary battles in anime history. There are several important details that need to be addressed to fully understand the dynamics of that fight, especially regarding the power disparity between the two. Initially, when both fighters unleashed their full strength, Goku as a Super Saiyan was calculated at a power level of 150 million, while Frieza at 100% of his full power was 120 million. This means that from the very start, Goku had the edge when both of them were at their absolute peak. Goku was stronger, not by a massive margin, but enough that it tipped the scales in his favor. However, it's important to note that these numbers didn't stay stagnant throughout the fight. Goku himself points out that Frieza's 100% form burns through his energy extremely fast, which is the reason Frieza was hesitant to go full power earlier. Once he did, his ki began dropping rapidly, and Goku even mentions it in dialogue. Similarly, Goku's Super Saiyan form, at least at that early stage, wasn't perfect either. While he was clearly more stable than Frieza, he too was losing stamina as the battle went on, just to a much lesser extent. We get a deeper explanation for this during the Android saga when Vegeta fights Android 18. Vegeta wasn't just outmatched in raw strength, his Super Saiyan form drained his stamina over time, while the androids had infinite energy. It's established early that Super Saiyan transformations burn through energy heavily during prolonged use. This is why it was so impressive later when Goku and Gohan emerged from the hyperbolic time chamber, having mastered Super Saiyan as a base form, letting them fight without energy drain and only power up when necessary. Back on Namek, this means that while Goku and Frieza started at 150 million and 120 respectively, both of their power levels dropped over time. Frieza significantly more drastically, but Goku's to a lesser extent. We see just how far Frieza's power falls when Goku, having power down to his damaged base form, dodges one of Frieza's death saucers. Considering Goku's base form on Namek was around 3 million before transforming and he was heavily battle-worn by this point, it should have been even lower. Even factoring in the Saiyan trait of Zenkai boost, gaining strength through battle, it's uncertain whether the gains outweigh the battle damage at this point. Regardless, the fact remains that even a much weaker injured Goku could react to Frieza's attacks in base form, a testament to just how much Frieza had deteriorated. After dodging, Goku retransformed into Super Saiyan to the end of the battle, which should have drained even more energy considering the back and forth transformation. Yet, even with these disadvantages, Goku dominated Frieza decisively for the remainder of the fight. Now, it's important to establish all of this since this is the Goku we will be using for our scenario. We're avoiding Yard Drag Goku because we already know how that encounter went in the future timeline. Goku was easily superior to Mecha Frieza. With all of that set up, let's get into Mecha Frieza and just how strong he is compared to his original self on Namek. When Mecha Frieza first appears in the manga and anime, it's made clear that he's been upgraded to a mechanical state. Frieza himself claims he's now stronger than he was before, and he's confident that he can finally defeat Goku in his new form. That very statement sparked this long-running debate among fans. Now, we have to remember, Frieza's judgment of power isn't always the most accurate. He thought he could defeat Super Saiyan Goku on Namek even after going 100%, and we know he wasn't stronger at that point. However, he might not have been entirely wrong either. Back on Namek, Goku is losing power over time in his Super Saiyan state, while Frieza at 70% of his final form was able to briefly push him back. So there was already an element of power fluctuation during their original battle. This becomes a crucial point for this hypothetical fight. Even if Goku initially has the advantage, if his power is only relative to Mecha Frieza's and not massively superior, the longer the fight drags out, the more Goku's stamina drain could tip the scales against him. And that's assuming Goku is relative to Mecha Frieza in the first place, because there are some indicators that suggest otherwise, depending on whether you're looking at the anime or the manga. Starting with the anime version first, in the anime, Mecha Frieza, after feeling pressured by Trunks, fires off a massive death ball. During this moment, King Kai notes that the power Frieza is using is now 10 times stronger than the death ball he used on Namek, and that original death ball was launched when Frieza was at 50% power. So what does this mean exactly? Well, let's break it down. 50% of Final Form Frieza was able to create a death ball powerful enough to destroy Namek. 100% Final Form Frieza logically should be about 2 times stronger than his 50% self, if we assume simple linear scaling. Frieza's new death ball, stated to be 10 times stronger than the 50% one used on Namek, Thus, Mecha Frieza's Death Ball is 5 times stronger than 100% Frieza Namek's Death Ball. In raw numbers, if 100% Frieza was around 120 million, multiplying by 5 would suggest Mecha Frieza's power could now be in the ballpark of 600 million. Meaning, Mecha Frieza would now be much stronger than Namek's Super Saiyan Goku, especially when factoring in Goku's stamina issues as the fight drags on. Another thing to consider is that Mecha Frieza still appears to have access to his full power on top of his mechanical upgrade. His appearance is still in his streamlined final form, but Gohan comments that Frieza's power gets even crazier as he approaches Earth, suggesting that what they initially sensed wasn't even his full maximum yet. If that's the case and Frieza can still go 100% full power state just like he did on Namek in his Mecha form, Mecha Frieza would win against the Namek Super Saiyan Goku quite decisively. There wouldn't be much of a debate about it. One counter some fans bring up is Gohan's comment that Trunks' ki was similar to Goku's when he fought Frieza. However, this can be explained away pretty easily. In Dragon Ball, ki signatures are unique. Characters can sense not just power, but who someone is based on the feel of their ki. Frieza's arrival on Earth was detected immediately by Gohan and Krillin, not because of raw numbers, but because they recognized the feel of Frieza's ki. Super Saiyan ki likely has a distinct feeling to it as well, especially early on when it was rare. Thus, when Gohan says Trunks' ki felt the same as Goku's, it could be referring to the feeling of Super Saiyan's ki, not necessarily saying that their power levels were identical, since that's not what he says. This interpretation makes more sense than assuming Trunks was somehow as strong as Namek Goku. Now, when we switch over to the manga version, Goku actually has a bit more of an argument. Unlike the anime, the statement about Frieza using 10 times the power he used on Namek at 50% is completely absent from the manga. This means that the huge scaling boost that clearly puts Frieza above Goku in the anime doesn't exist here. What is still present, however, is the basic statement that Frieza is stronger now in his mechanical form. The problem is, we're not really told by how much. Frieza being stronger doesn't automatically mean he's now stronger than Goku. Goku was already stronger than 100% Frieza as a Super Saiyan, so it's possible that even after Frieza's upgrade, Goku could still be stronger. If you were to interpret Gohan's comment about Trunks' ki as referring to power levels, not just ki signatures, it gives Goku more of a fighting chance. You could argue that Trunks, and by extension Goku, were still superior or at least relative enough to Mecha Frieza to pull off a win. This, however, relies on being very charitable to Goku. You would have to, 1. Assume that Frieza's mechanical upgrades didn't boost him by much, even though Frieza himself believed he could now defeat a Goku who previously overwhelmed him. 2. Assume that Gohan's statement about Trunks was talking specifically about raw power and not just the feel of Super Saiyan ki, despite the fact that the series often emphasizes unique ki signatures over power comparisons in these kinds of comments, and neither of these assumptions is directly supported by the manga's dialogue. It's reading between the lines and leaning in favor of Goku whenever possible. Another factor to consider is in Frieza's new mechanical form, there's no statement or indication that his stamina is an issue anymore. Meanwhile, we know that the early Super Saiyan Goku still suffers from energy drain during long fights, a problem that wasn't solved until after his hyperbolic time chamber training. Meaning, if Goku and Mecha Frieza start out as even, or even if Goku starts stronger, over time Goku's stamina will continue to decline, while Mecha Frieza's will remain stable, giving Frieza a huge advantage in a prolonged battle. Even being generous to Goku, Frieza still has the edge here. Short fight, Goku might pull it off if he finishes quickly and is much stronger than Frieza. Extended fight, Goku's stamina would lose and would eventually lead to him being overwhelmed. And if Frieza's boost was even more moderately significant, Goku would start at a disadvantage immediately. Thus, in my opinion, Mecha Frieza still beats Namek Super Saiyan Goku even in the manga version, just maybe not as decisively as in the anime, making this fight not even close.